समीना पीरज़ादा के आज के मेहमान हैं शहरयार मुनव्वर सिद्दीकी। एक एक्टर हैं। मैंने कभी इनके साथ काम नहीं किया मगर मुझे अच्छे लगते हैं। बातें की हैं, मिली हूँ, लेकिन जाना नहीं है। आज बहुत सी बातें करेंगे और कुछ जान भी लूँगी और पहचान भी लूँगी। आइए मिलते हैं। शहरयार, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग टू द शो। मुझे तो लग रहा था नहीं आ पाओगे। क्या हुआ, तबीयत ठीक है?
नहीं, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर हैविंग मी एंड तबीयत हाँ थोड़ी सी सही नहीं है बट वो तो काम में चलता रहता है।
हाँ, एक्चुअली काम अजीब है। जब आता है तो बहुत आता
बहुत आता
है ना? और फिर कोई एक लम्हा भी नहीं मिलता कि आदमी सांस ले ले, चाय पी ले।
बट आई एम नॉट कंप्लेनिंग, गॉड्स बीन काइंड, टच वुड।
यू आर डूइंग वेल। तो ये कहानी कहाँ से शुरू हुई? कहाँ पैदा हुए? कितने बहन भाई हैं?
आई वॉज बोर्न इन कराची। कराची में पैदा हुआ था बट देन वी मूव्ड, माई फादर्स इन द एयरफोर्स।
अच्छा।
तो देन वी मूव टू इस्लामाबाद
अच्छा।
एंड यूजली आपको पता है एयरफोर्स आर्मी का ज़्यादा पंजाब साइड पे होती हैं पोस्टिंग्स। So I grew up there in Islamabad all my life, and in my A levels I moved to Karachi again.
अच्छा।
And फिर उसके बाद then I've been in
हाँ,
Karachi.
आर्म फोर्सेस में ये होता है, कभी बच्चे जो हैं वो एक स्कूल में टिक के नहीं पढ़ सकते।
बिल्कुल नहीं।
हाँ।
So that's why, but I take it as a positive as well, because उसकी वजह से ये है कि अब मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्त पूरी दुनिया में हैं। इन द सेंस दैट इस्लामाबाद के काफ़ी दोस्त थे जो कि रिलोकेट कर गए दूसरी जगहों पे। देन आई हैव सम फ्रेंड्स इन लाहौर एज वेल, एंड देन आई हैव फ्रेंड्स इन कराची एज वेल बिकॉज आई डिड माई यूनिवर्सिटी एंड माई ए लेवल्स देयर। सो उससे फ़ायदा भी होता है।
कितने बहन भाई हो?
4 of us। बड़ी बहन है सबसे, उनके बाद बड़े भाई थे जिनकी डेथ हुई 4 साल पहले in a car crash, God rest his soul, and उसके बाद मैं था, and then सबसे छोटा भाई is Mickey Manoj Chahar, and he's just graduated now from university, so it's a huge age difference between me and him, 7 years.
So अम्मी क्या करती हैं?
अम्मी जो है इतना पाल पोस के बड़ा किया मुझे वही काफ़ी बड़ी अचीवमेंट। She's a homemaker, and apart from that, she also does a lot of philanthropy type का काम काफ़ी करती हैं। उसके अलावा she's also right now the vice chairperson of the Floral Art Society of Pakistan. So she's also into horticulture and floral art.
तो घर का माहौल क्या होता था? स्ट्रिक्ट पेरेंट्स थे?
बहुत बहुत स्पेशली मेरी मदर, my mother is originally from Kalat.
अच्छा।
And she's Baloch. So वो थोड़ी सी गुस्से की भी गर्म है। Even though when you meet her, she's a sweetheart, like, and सबके सामने वो बहुत she's very sweet, and वैसे है भी sweet, but घर पे she's the one who controls, reins उनके हाथ में।
ये कैसे मिले आपके अब्बू? एयरफोर्स में अम्मी?
तो ये
was it arranged or was it a love marriage?
अच्छा, पुराने ज़माने का लव भी अरेंज तरीके का होता था। आप हम सारे स्टोरियाँ सुनते हैं। So from the story that there are many different versions of the story, but the most popular one that is quoted is वो शादी पे उनको देखा था मम्मी को, and फिर वापस आके पापा spoke to, उन्होंने अपनी बहन को जाके बोला कि ये can you find out who this girl is? And so then they found out, और फिर रिश्ता लेके गए। and
तो फिर किस घर में क्या बोली जाती है?
So with Papa it's Sindhi.
हाँ बिल्कुल, और अम्मी ब्रोही बोलती हैं।
जी। So it's very interesting actually। बहुत जब भी मेरे घर पे कोई आता है डिनर पे, मेरा दोस्त तो we will always we always ask people to join us for dinner। अगर कोई आया हुआ होता है तो डिनर टेबल पे जब बैठे होते हैं, so with my mother we all speak Brahui।
अच्छा।
And with my father we all speak Sindhi। एंड नेचुरली आप बात करते हुए जब उर्दू में भी बात करते हैं तो अंग्रेज़ी में स्विच करते हैं। और कभी कभार दोस्त बैठे होते हैं, दोस्त ज्वाइन करते हैं तो उनके साथ उर्दू में भी। सो देयर 4 डिफरेंट लैंग्वेजेस दैट वी आर स्विचिंग बिटवीन। कभी कभार तो इतना अजीब होता है कि वो लोग कहते हैं मिंग्लिश, बट इट्स नॉट इवन दैट, बिकॉज इन एक सेंटेंस में हम 4 डिफरेंट लैंग्वेजेस में स्विच कर जाएंगे।
व्हाट फन।
सो इट्स अ लिटिल डिफिकल्ट फॉर पीपल टू कीप ट्रैक जो अटेंड करते हैं।
और खाना का क्या होता है? because Sindhi has a very unique, I think, cuisine.
Yeah.
And Balochi also has
Yeah.
an amazing cuisine.
So, so in terms of Balochi food, it's very meat pe heavy hota hai. So there's a lot of lamb, dumba, beef, and mutton and lamb they prefer more. And as opposed to Sindhi food, जिसमें vegetables ज़्यादा होती हैं. So unfortunately, fortunately for me, because I love meat, mummy is the one who had more influence on that. So we usually have that kind of.
और खाने की मेज़ पे बातें क्या होती थी खास? Politics or?
बहुत ज़्यादा, because my sister, she was very, उनको politics का बहुत शौक था, and she was a debater as well growing up, and that's why I started dabbling into debates as well. And my father was in the Air Force, and he loves reading, so he reads a lot. Abhi bhi, if I think about it, the oldest memory that I have of him is with him with a book in his hand. That's always the case. So he used to, so we would always, and we were all inquisitive kids. So होता क्या था कि बहुत अब तो different times हो गए, but जब when my father was in the Air Force, तो वो एक disciplined तरीके से ज़िंदगी गुजरती थी, in the sense कि दिन को वो 2 घंटे सोया जाता था. अब तो कुछ होता नहीं है दिन को. So you find it ridiculous if somebody sleeps in the afternoon now.
और फिर आप लोग गायब होते थे?
हाँ, सब इंतजार करते थे.
दरख्तों पे भी चढ़ना था और है ना.
So we used to all wait कि पापा और मम्मी कब सोएंगे, and I used to pretend to be asleep. और फिर जब वो सोते थे तो फिर हम we would just sneak out. तो but anyway, तो होता ये था कि the dinner table was the time where we would all get together and talk about our day.
अच्छा.
So it was a lot of fun, and like I said, I was an inquisitive child, so I used to ask a lot of questions. And उस तरीके से पैसिवली बहुत सीखने को मिलता है. तो अगर आप एक किताब पढ़ रहे हैं तो लोग 3 और पढ़ रहे हैं, तो you get to read 4 at one time, right? So इस तरीके से.
So you enjoy reading books?
I do whenever, but I would call it a luxury now, because हमारी ज़िंदगी, like I said, वो टाइम नहीं रहा कि आप दिन को सो सकें या फिर आप टाइम निकाल के किताब पढ़ सकें. तो अब ये होता है कि just when I'm traveling, I have a book. पेस स्लो हो गई है. अब ये होता है कि 2-3-4 हफ्ते में जाके एक किताब ख़त्म होती है, जो पहले हफ्ते में एक ख़त्म होती थी.
खूब कॉमिक्स पढ़े?
बहुत कॉमिक्स पढ़े.
because
growing up.
और क्या था स्कूल में, क्या करते थे? कोई बहुत ही डिसिप्लिन स्कूल था कि एयरफोर्स के स्कूल में थे?
नहीं. So
प्राइवेट स्कूल में
जी.
थे.
So I wasn't lucky enough to ever go to Air Force school. And I would say lucky because वो एक certain किस्म का discipline आपको inculcate करता है वो setup, but नहीं. So school में actually I was a good student. पढ़ाई पे बहुत focus था, because parents की तरफ से बहुत pressure था. That we all had to get good grades. We were the sort of family where actually I think all parents are like that, but parents like bragging about their kids. So
was there music in your house?
Yes.
आप लोग गाते थे या कोई इंस्ट्रूमेंट बजता था घर में?
So my father अभी भी गाते हैं, और उनके उस्ताद आते थे, तो रियाज होता था घर में.
अरे वाह, ये मुझे नहीं पता था.
And so it was fun growing up. और फादर को म्यूज़िक का बहुत शौक था, तो उनकी LPs हुआ करती थी, जो कि अभी मैंने सारी चोरी कर ली हैं.
मिल गई तुम्हें?
सारी मैंने उठा ली है. So
मेरी खाला ने मुझे अपनी सारी LPs दे दी. So I have a cabinet full of LPs.
I'm envious because that's something. अब अच्छी LPs मिलती नहीं है. आपको antique stores में जाके जो है ना,
My daughter is a collector.
So I also now collect LPs because. So I remember growing up, I would after the ustad would leave, I would sit and we had an LP player. So वो सारे पुराने records and all kinds of music, from Western classical to Eastern classical, and from that to pop to even the onset of rock from the 60s on to the 80s, and then discos in 70s and 80s. So all kinds of music, So I had I thought it was a luxury to have.
Who are you closest to, Mama or या Papa?
Oh, that's a tough question. That's a tough question because that's one of those questions अभी तक मैं क्रैक नहीं कर सका. वो बचपन से पूछते हैं ना, जब बच्चा छोटा होता है तो the first question they ask is आपको अच्छा कौन लगता है? Do you like your father?
मगर लाइक की बात नहीं है, मतलब कभी कभी होता है कि आप ड्रॉन होते हैं एक शख्स के साथ, या दोस्ती ज़्यादा हो जाती है बाप से या माँ से, आपके किस्से हैं?
सो पापा और मेरी जो लाइक्स एंड डिसलाइक्स है वो काफ़ी मैच करती हैं, इन द सेंस दैट व्हेन आई ग्रो अप हिम एंड आई यूज्ड टू स्पेंड लॉट ऑफ टाइम, वो हम मॉडलिंग करते थे, वो जो नहीं होती मॉडल्स बनाने होते हैं शिप्स के जहाज़ों के, रिमोट कंट्रोल जहाज़, इस तरह का शौक बहुत था. सो ही taught me all of that and we used to, so I had a little small workshop that, well, basically him and I used to share, and then we used to make all these model planes and ships and remote control planes and all kinds of stuff. So वो था. Then reading was something that I also enjoyed and he also enjoyed, because my elder brother Aspi was actually less into that, because he was more into, let's say, music. I had so much music around me in the house, but I was more of a listener. So I would listen music and appreciate. My sister still sings. वो भी करती थी रियाज. तो my elder brother जो था, he used to play the guitar, he used to play the drums, and I could never pick up any instrument. तो मैं बैठ के सिर्फ enjoy करता था. So otherwise, so I think that way I was closer to पापा के जो interest है उसमें. So अभी भी ये है कि अभी भी we still get along really well, and my mother was traveling now. My mother and my sister and my little brother, they're traveling London में थे. तो पिछले 15 दिनों से it's just me and my dad in the house. So it's like a boys' hostel right now. That's what mom says whenever she calls in. But it's fun, you know. It now after work, it's a different kind of bonding. You know, as you keep getting older, your bonding with your parents sort of changes. In the sense that I always used to, I love my father to bits, but growing up, he was more of someone that I used to look up to. I still look up to him. But now that relationship has changed to the fact that now we're more like friends, in the sense that, you know, even if he's having issues, you know, he will say, यार वो हो गया मेरे साथ, you know, मैं सोच रहा हूँ क्या करूँ.
क्या ख्वाब क्या देखते थे जब स्कूल में थे? लाइक 8वीं जमात से आदमी ख्वाब देखना शुरू करता है ना? आई थिंक 8th ग्रेड से आदमी के होता है कि मैं ये बनूंगा और मैं वो करूँगा. क्या सोचते थे कि क्या करोगे और क्या बनोगे, कहाँ क्या पढ़ोगे?
I studied finance and marketing. I went to IBA, and जो कि बहुत serious school है, and वहाँ से मैंने I graduated with a degree in finance and marketing. तो ख्वाब बहुत देखा करता था. मेरे ख्याल से हम सब जो ये काम करते हैं, हम सब बहुत ख्वाब देखते हैं, इसीलिए हम ये कर रहे हैं. तो वो 8वीं जमात से क्या अभी भी देखना ख़त्म नहीं किया. कल रात को भी मेरे ख्याल से काफ़ी ख्वाब देखे होंगे मैंने. सो that's the beauty of the kind of work we do. I think we're all dreamers, right? We're all dreamers. We all imagine a lot of stuff, और फिर उसी के लिए. So growing up, ये.
Did you know that you were going to become an actor?
In
school?
I didn't know I was going to. So my aunt was a producer and director, and so growing up I would go to her sets, and I don't know if she remembers or not, but even I remember I was in 2nd grade, और वहाँ पे मैं उनके पास गया था एक दफ़ा. तो PTV पे ड्रामा हो रहा था about the Mughals or something. तो मैं नवाब के बच्चे के, छोटे नवाब के कपड़े लेके आ गया. 2nd or 3rd ग्रेड में था, और अगले दिन स्कूल पहन के चला गया. So it was a normal day in school, and I just showed up wearing पूरा जो, you know, with the pearls and everything. And तो because I saw the costume room PTV में जो होता था.
हाँ बिल्कुल. It's a huge place.
तो
so many costumes hanging over there.
तो बस मैं उठा के लेके आ गया था.
सिंड्रेला का क्या कहना चाहिए, you know, it's like Aladdin का cave. है ना, पुरानी चीजें. I remember that.
You remember that, right? So I, as a kid, when I saw that, also when you're younger, now when I think about things seem bigger. आप जब छोटे होते हैं आपको हर चीज़ बहुत बड़ी लगती है, और आप जाके बोलते हैं यार ये मेरी सोच में तो काफ़ी बड़ा था. So at that time when I stepped into PTV and I was a kid, you know, this whole place was like huge for me. You know, it's like different world altogether. So I remember the earliest memory of wanting to do this was when I was a kid, 2nd grade. I went and I got that costume and I wore it, and then auntie was very sweet, because वो मुझे अक्सर तस्वीरें भेजा करती थी अपनी different shoots से, signed by actors. So I remember I was in 4th grade, and if Humayun finds out he's going to kill me, I said the story, because I have a picture of Humayun when I was in 4th grade, signed by him from a play that he was doing. And मैं 4th जमात में था, और मेरे पास अभी तक वो उसमें फरहान अली होगा,
अच्छा।
Humayun Saeed, and I'm not sure what play it was, but वो दोनों थे और just I'm not sure if it's Adnan Siddiqui or some, or three of them.
Okay.
और so Humayun had signed it.
Oh, how
so I'm
sweet.
thinking one day I'm going to take it to Humayun now.
No, you
And,
should. Why
it's-
not?
But yeah, but Humayun's a sweetheart like that.
Yeah.
He won't be upset about it. But I remember fourth grade, so I used to get pictures like that, and so I was always had an interest in it. But as I जैसे जैसे पढ़ाई बढ़ती रही, यूनिवर्सिटी कॉलेज में प्लेस बेस करता था मैं, स्टेज प्लेस वगैरह, डिबेट्स का शौक था, तो बस चलता रहा.
तो एयरफोर्स में जाने का नहीं शौक हुआ? नेचुरली तो था कि वही जाना चाहिए ना.
हाँ,
होता है ना, when you're close to your dad, you know you want to be like him.
So मैंने वो शौक growing up, I did all the things that I possibly could do when I'd get in the Air Force. Like for example, I rode horses. 4 साल घोड़े चलाता रहा, because वो एक perk होता है आपको armed forces का. So 4 years every day for 2 hours I'd go ride horses. My brother used to play polo as well. तो वो शौक वहाँ से पूरा हो गया. गोल्फ खेलता था, वो भी शौक हो गया. Then I used to make remote control planes, and then I was lucky enough, my father was in his base camp Chipala, तो उस टाइम पे फिर I got to take some gliding lessons as well. तो वो सारे शौक पूरे कर लिए वहाँ पे.
So क्या पढ़ा पे यूनिवर्सिटी में, क्या किस?
I studied finance and marketing. I went to IBA, and जो कि बहुत serious school है. And वहाँ से मैंने I graduated with a degree in finance and marketing. Finance was a major and marketing was my minor. And so hardcore finance and math and all of that. And बस वो पढ़ा. And तो जब graduate किया तो I started working with this German venture capitalist company. और 6 महीने काम किया. It was fun. I had it. Italian bosses थे, बहुत sweet थे, अच्छा exposure मिल रहा था. But while I was in IBA at that time, हमारे marketing department में हुआ करता था advertising competitions हुआ करते थे. So KFC came to it was like all Pakistan universities, Lams, IBA वगैरह की. You had to make an ad. It was called an ad war.
Okay.
तो वो किया था. So I won that. I made an ad for, it was inter university kind of thing. I won that. Then फिर उसके बाद I think Omor आया था, so did that as well. So तो उस तरह का काफ़ी शौक हुआ था कि अच्छा कैमरा के पीछे भी बहुत मज़ा आता है. But obviously इतनी technicalities आती नहीं थी, सीखना था. So while I was at university, I used to do modeling assignments, ads के लिए. And it was a good way to make money as well. And I used to have fun with it as well, because होता ये था कि I had a very different life, because I was in a very serious business school where it was all numbers and math and stuff, and on the weekends I could just go and be someone else. On these ad assignments I could just be another person, and sometimes I'd have to travel for it. And for a university kid it's just a very different experience, and I'd come back and talk about it to my friends कि यार ये हुआ, फिर ऐसे होता है, फिर वैसे होता है, और 200 बंदों का crew होता है, और ऐसे होता है. So interest हमेशा से था. And so when I graduation से पहले पर अभी तक कुछ ज़्यादा पता नहीं था कि टेक्निकलिटीज़ नहीं पता होती हैं आपको. आपने स्कूल में थिएटर वगैरह किया होता है, डिफरेंट प्लेस वगैरह किए होते हैं, बट आपको ये नहीं पता होता कि कैमरा कैसे लेना है, आपने लाइट कैसे उठानी है, किस एंगल पे अगर आप सोच के देखेंगे कैमरा में तो ड्रामेटिक होगा. All of those things, that's the craft. That is something that you will pick up once you either you have formal training जो आपको ये सारी चीज़ें बताएंगी, या फिर then you start working with the camera, and somebody once told me it's called flirting with the camera. So you start flirting with the camera. So while I was still in university and I didn't know all of this, my aunt asked me, she said, will you do something for me? And I said, what? And she said, well, I'm directing something, and it's just it's a small part, but I want you to do it. And I said, auntie, I don't know. I mean, I've never been in front of the camera. Like I have, like modeling assignments here and there.
Sultan is very fond of you.
I'm very fond of her.
Yeah, she's told me.
So it's,
हाँ, she said तुमने मेरे देखना मेरा nephew बहुत talented है.
It's very sweet of her. So पहला जो मैंने काम किया था, I tell you, I had no idea what was going on. Like because I actually, and that show Zindagi Guzara. That was the first one. Now that was actually about a university and I was actually in university. तो मैं क्लास में होता था और मुझे AD के मैसेज आ रहे होते थे कि आप कब फारिग होके आ रहे हैं, यहाँ पे आपका सीन का टाइम हो गया है. एंड इट वाज सो वियर्ड फॉर मी बिकॉज यहाँ पे लेक्चर चल रहा है और लेक्चर के बीच में मैसेज आ रहे हैं फ़ोन पे, और फिर मैं वहाँ से निकल के सीधा भागता था, भागते भागते पहुँचता था क्योंकि IB वाज इन सदर एंड IBS में हम शूट करते व्हिच वाज इन डिफेंस. सो इट वाज अ गुड 1.5 hour ड्राइव, भागते भागते पहुँचता था मैं. और जैसे ही पहुँचता था तो अंदर घुसते ही सीन हाथ में पकड़ाया जाता था, ये पढ़ लो जल्दी से, लाइंस पढ़ लो. तो वहाँ पे लाइंस रटते थे and then so I
But you did a good job.
no I did, I was terrible.
Because
I was
you didn't
terrible.
know. You see, ये भी बड़े मजे की बात है, जब आपको कुछ पता नहीं होता तो फिर आप अपने इंस्टिंक्ट के ऊपर रिलाई करते हैं.
You know, now when I look back, I can't look back at it. I was terrible because I don't know. So वो हुआ, and when वो ख़त्म हुआ तो university भी ख़त्म हो गई. I started working like I told you, and 6 months into it, I started getting a lot of calls from everywhere, like different directors and producers and stuff, and they started saying कि ये कर दो, वो कर दो, ये कर दो. तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि मैं क्या करूँ, ये कैसे हो रहा है सब कुछ. So I had a chat with my mother and my dad. So when I spoke to my father, he said कि हाँ ये तो है, but you need to concentrate on what you want to do in life. It's about time you decided. I said, I'm too young to decide what I want to do in life. He said, no, you're not young. You graduate from university, take a decision now. So I was dallying. मैं उसको avoid कर रहा था. I used to go to work and stuff, and I've always been a hard worker. So even at work, मैं सुबह जाता था, रात 10 बजे आता था. तो मम्मी उस पर भी सुनाती थी कि ऐसे कौन सी नौकरी होती है जो सुबह को जाओ तो 10 बजे रात को वापस आते हो. I used to enjoy my job. And one day I didn't go to work. So एक दिन गुजरा, दूसरा दिन गुजरा. So my mom's like, ये क्या बच्चा, क्या 2 दिन हो गया, ये तो पागल होता था, सुबह से लेकर रात तक काम करता था, ऑफिस क्यों नहीं जा रहा. So she asked me, why aren't you going to work? I said, I quit my job. I said, what? I said, yeah, I quit my job. She said, why did you quit your job? I said, because I have decided I want to act and I want to learn how to get behind the camera, and that's what I want to do. And she's like, oh my God, this one's gone crazy. So that happened, and then my father had a very serious conversation with me. He sat me down and he said, are you sure you want to do this? तुमने decide किया तुम्हें यही करना है. And I said, honestly, if I am honest about it, I don't know, but I know that life is long and I really enjoy this right now and I want to learn more about this. And ये तो है ही, if nothing else, it can always, you always find a job if you're willing to work hard. Somebody's willing to give you a job. So he said, okay. He says, well, all I'm going to say is like 5 to 6, 10 years, you figure out your finances yourself. This is a different career trajectory. You figure out your finances, you figure out your career trajectory, and I don't want you to come back to me 5 years later and say I messed up. Okay, because then my hands are off. I'm not going to be supporting you from today onwards. And I said, sure. And that's the rest is history. So I started, and so I did a few, I did a brief few dramas on television, and I wasn't happy with the way television was being done because I wasn't getting to learn. The days, the best part is you have seen glory days, PTV वगैरह के. मैंने जब टाइम देखा तो बहुत काम हो रहा था और टाइम नहीं होता था किसी के पास आके बताने का, सिखाने का. सीनियर्स के पास टाइम नहीं होता था बताने का, सिखाने का. सो लर्निंग कर्व आपकी नहीं बनती ऑन द जॉब, अनफॉर्चुनेटली आजकल के सेटअप में. So 3-4 projects into it, I worked with Jio, I worked with AirWhy, I worked in different places. 3-4 projects into it, I said, listen, what am I doing? This is not what I want to be doing. I'm not learning anything. I'm not happy. I don't go to sleep happy. I'm not growing professionally, in at least the goals that I've set for myself. So what do? So then I'd done a few ads with Asim before, and I did another ad. So on one ad shoot, I randomly went up to him and I said, sir, I want to AD you. And he laughed it off. He said कि बच्चे नहीं, देखो मैं सिल्वर स्पून बच्चों को नहीं लेता हूँ. And I took that to heart so much that मुझे बहुत उसका affect हुआ. फिर कुछ महीने बाद फिर हमने ऐड किया तो उस ऐड पे मैं I was just a model again, but I was an actor and I was acting in the ad. But I had just I started doing more than what I was required to do. I would go and कपड़े उठा के लेके आ जाओ, ये कर दो, आगे पीछे भागना शुरू हो गया. So then after the ad he called me, said कि अच्छा come, I'll give you an internship to start with. So I went home and I said I'm going to stop acting for a bit and I'm going to start an internship. And they said, you have a finance degree from one of the leading schools in Pakistan you worked with an international organization, now you're acting well and people know you, and now you want to become an attorney. I said, yeah. So then I started working with him as an attorney. I was his third AD, second AD, first AD, then I AD'd him, then I produced for him. And then one day I went to Asim, I said, Asim, I think we should make a film. And he said, well, you know, I just want to direct. I don't want to get into making a film. It's too much khwari. So I said, you know, we'll produce it together. I'll produce it and we'll make it together. I said, okay, fine, let's do it. So then we started Vision Factory Films, and then we produced Woman Jahan. And post that, and while I was doing this, I got the opportunity to direct a few ads. So yeah, I think work started picking up. And
You arrived.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's, you know, initially when you're like 23, 22, 23, you get out of university, you start working, and you think that you can do anything in life, right? And you think you know more than anyone else. That's the kind of cocky attitude that young people, you know, sort of have when they come out of university and they come into the world and they say. So when I started acting, I used to think, यार इससे बेहतर तो मैं कर सकता हूँ. Started like AD कर रहा था, तो यार इससे बेहतर तो शॉट मैं ले सकता हूँ. जब हर चीज़ आप सोचती हैं. Now 6 साल बाद, you know, I've realized I don't know anything. So it's a complete change of attitude. You know, initially when you start, you think you know best, and the more you start doing, is when you realize you don't know anything. And every day you're learning more. So now, I think the shift that's happened is that whereby initially I used to think, yaar, ye bhi kar lunga, ye bhi kar lunga. And self-doubt is not a good thing. But it's not self-doubt, it's more like coming to a place in life where you can make peace with the fact that you don't know anything, and there are 1,000 people out there, 1,000,000 people out there who know more than you. And you will be on set, and the chances are that everybody on set will probably know more than you know. And the day you make peace with that is the day that you start growing, you know, as a person, as a professional, as an individual, as an artist, as a thespian, whatever you might want to call it. And I feel that finally I'm getting into that space where I've made peace with the fact that I don't know anything. And I have all these people around me who can teach me something or the other. And so then it becomes a continuous journey.
Don't you think that you started becoming a producer much earlier than you should have? क्योंकि एक एक्टर अपने आप को स्टैब्लिश करे, उसी को समझते समझते कोई 5-6 साल, समटाइम्स 10 साल लगते हैं. और आप, don't you think कि production could have come after 10 years? You should have established yourself as a solid actor first.
The other thing also happens. Sometimes you've imagined it a certain way, and a new person will come in, so it's a new set of, you know, it's a new energy on set, because, you know, when you, आप तो एक पर्चे पे लिख रहे होते हो, उसकी आप मूड बोर्ड्स बना रहे होते हो, डिफरेंट चीज़ें करते हो, बट आइसोलेशन में आप एक अपने क्रिएटिव स्पेस में काम कर रहे होते हो. If I think about that, then I won't be able to do either of my jobs, like, because it's a natural thing. You always second guess. I have thought about that, and each one of the probably 1,000 strands of white hair in my head right now.
So what is satisfying, being an actor or being a producer?
I think the thing is, I'm not an actor. You're not an actor. You're an artist you've chosen this medium, and basically, an actor is a storyteller the same way a director is a storyteller, the same way a producer is a storyteller. We all like telling stories.
Yeah.
That's why we're into this. And I think the best part is that's why I started producing, that's why I wanted to direct, and that's why I started directing ads. And
so are we going to lose an actor to production and direction? Yeah, nahi.
No, I think it's so, you know, growing up, you make your heroes as you go along. You know, every day you read about people, you know, people like Clint Eastwood, you know, have you know, directed, produced, acted at the same time. Now people like Ben Affleck has been doing this for ages now. You know, Matt Damon, they've been Mark Wahlberg, people like that produce, direct, act, and if you look at their career trajectories, it's actually when they started doing a lot more behind the camera as well as acting is when their craft improved, because you start understanding essentially what role do you have to play in the bigger picture. If you start understanding the bigger picture, then you can start understanding what role you can play in it as an actor. So it's a lot of fun because now when I went on 7 दिन कि अभी मेरी फिल्म जो इंशाल्लाह उसकी शूट ख़त्म हो गई है विद मीनू एंड फरजाद, जो मैं आपको बताया था डॉन फिल्म्स के साथ, उस पे I was just an actor on that. This was right after Home and Jana. This is right after I've directed a few ads. This is right after I've been ADing for 4 years and started directing myself as well. So after all of that kind of control, creative control that you have, then I had to go onto a set where I was just an actor, right? And then you have to let go of all of that, right? So you have to make peace with the fact that you just have to play your role in this big picture that we spoke about earlier. And that was a little difficult because you kind of get addicted to the control, the creative control.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, you know, that's what I was wondering. That's when I said कि, you know, because ये बहुत अलग काम है. As a director, producer, even 100 लोगों के साथ आप, you're on top.
Yeah.
And then as an actor, you're just yourself, quietly sitting in a corner. So transition कैसी थी?
Transition बहुत अजीब थी क्योंकि उसमें होता ये कि फिर आपको ट्रस्ट बढ़ाना पड़ता है. फिर आपको you have to.
Did you ever get up and then reminded yourself?
Many times. I used to get up and
project.
all the way till the fact that I used to come to the director and I used to be like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. अक्सर मैंने actually मीनू and फरजाद both have been very sweet about it because मैं उनका सर भी बहुत खाता था कि नहीं, you know, मीनू इसको इस तरीके से. And then she would just look at me and I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry, you know. And then you realize कि आपको you have to let go.
Yes.
You have to let go.
Even मैं भी जब कभी कोशिश करती हूँ ना कि मुझे पता ही है इस तरह होना चाहिए, तो जब immediately मैं कहती नहीं, but you're the captain of the ship, you're the director. मैं ऐसे कह रही थी, मैं suggest कर रही थी.
Because you know what happens is then the way that you can stop yourself is that you put yourself in the director's shoes. जैसे यार अगर मेरा प्रोजेक्ट होता और मेरे पास एक्टर आके रोज इसी से तंग करता तो मैं कहता ये तो नाइटमेयर है.
नहीं, बट पता है क्या, मैं बिलीव करती हूँ कि ये एक्चुअली है ही बहुत सारे लोगों की ख्वाबों की तश्कील. एक पिक्चर है, बहुत से लोग ख्वाब देखते हैं और फिर वो एक कंप्लीट होती है. तो अगर कोई भी आपको कोई सजेस्ट करे, माइंड नहीं करना चाहिए. इट्स अ गुड थिंग दैट पीपल आर सो इन्वॉल्व्ड that they are suggesting and worrying about a better picture.
That's so true, you know, and this is what I tell people.
इसलिए मैं समझती हूँ कि माइंड बिल्कुल किसी भी पाकिस्तान में ये एक्टर्स को, डायरेक्टर्स को कभी माइंड नहीं करना चाहिए अगर कोई सजेशन दे आपको तो.
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही. माइंड तो वैसे भी कभी कुछ नहीं करना चाहिए सेट पे जो हो रहा होता है, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारा काम ऐसा है कि हम बहुत जज्बाती लोग हैं. हम तो काम ही जज्बात का करते हैं. तो अक्सर ऐसा होता है, स्पेशली जब आप, मैं इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी नरेट करता हूँ, जब आप स्टोरी लिखवा रहे होते हैं, जैसे अभी इंशाल्लाह हमारी सेकंड फिल्म प्रोडक्शन.
अच्छा, you're making a film आसिम के साथ as a director.
Asim is going to be directing it, I'm going to be producing it, so it's the second film. So you get involved from the first stage, from scripting to all of that. तो होता क्या है कि जब आप राइटर्स टेबल करते हो, राइटर के साथ बैठते हो, सारा प्रोड्यूसर भी बैठा है, डायरेक्टर भी बैठा है, आपके एडीज बैठे हुए, सब कुछ साथ बैठ के आप करते हो और आप साथ कुछ लिखते हो. और उसके साथ फिर होता क्या है कि आप अपने दिमाग में, you know, in this line of work, you write 2 words and you imagine 5 more already in your mind. You built an entire thing of यार ऐसे होगा, ये इसका घर ऐसे होगा, फिर ऐसे होगा. So and then the next day you come and then somebody gets up and says, yeah, this is not working. You know, I think we've been sleeping on this for like a week now, but this is not working. मुझे लगता है इसको चेंज करना चाहिए. तो आप लड़ने के लिए तैयार हो जाते हो क्योंकि आपने तो एक रियलिटी बना ली है अपने दिमाग में. आपने तो अपने दिमाग में एक अलग दुनिया बना ली है और कोई एक दिन आके बोलता है यार नहीं ये गलत है, इसको रब करो, अब नई दुनिया बनाते हैं. So then we used to, it was a very different process because what I was trying to in simpler words is that when we were scripting, we would do something and then a week later when somebody would want to change it, the director would want to change it, the writer would want to change it, I would just get up and be like, no, you can't do that. Well, why not? And I would not have a justification for it.
But this work is so fluid.
Yeah.
It is. Amazingly. लगता है बाहर से कि ये बहुत ही you know, like disciplined, very organized and है, लेकिन but it is. And
it is.
It is so fluid and ideas keep coming in and things change and है ना.
You have to keep accommodating.
Actors also change.
But you know, also chemistries change.
बिल्कुल chemistries change and actors change while they're performing.
Because
आप idea लेके कुछ और आते हैं. I remember जब मैं सुल्ताना के साथ काम कर रही थी, योरान, मैं जिस कैरेक्टर को कर रही थी, जिंदगी गुलजार है, उसको मैंने एक और तरह से सोचा था पढ़ने के बाद. And I remember I brought that on the set. And सुल्ताना said कि नहीं, ये तो बड़ी gentle और forgiving औरत है.
अच्छा.
तो आई थॉट कि नहीं, सिंगल पेरेंट है, 4 बेटियां हैं, बाप चला गया है दूसरी शादी करने टू हैव अ सन, तो ये कहाँ से? बट देन आई स्टॉप्ड
Yeah.
एंड आई लुक्ड एट हर एंड आई सेड ठीक है.
Yeah.
And I turned around my way of thinking about that
Yeah.
woman
Yeah.
into Sultana's way of thinking, and she was right.
Yeah.
Look what it happened, what Zindagi Guzara became, you know.
Yeah, but strange way that was her own story as well. So Sultana was.
Yeah.
So she could probably relate to that. But yeah, so that, but you know, sometimes the other thing also happens. Sometimes you've imagined it a certain way, and a new person will come in. So it's a new set of, you know, it's a new energy on set, because you know when you आप तो एक पर्चे पे लिख रहे होते हो, उसकी आप मूड बोर्ड्स बना रहे होते हो, डिफरेंट चीज़ें करते हो, बट आइसोलेशन में आप एक अपने क्रिएटिव स्पेस में काम कर रहे होते हो. जब आप उसको सेट पे लेके जाते हो तो आप यू इंट्रोड्यूस सम न्यू एनर्जीज इनटू द कंकॉक्शन, राइट? सो यू ब्रिंग इन एक्टर्स, and like you said, every human being brings in a different energy, and all of a sudden it takes a new shape, and you say, यार ये कर रहा तो वैसे ही है जैसे मैंने कहा था, but this is making the thing different, and hey, maybe I'm liking it, you know. So sometimes that happens. So
There's always a surprise, you know. There's a surprise element.
there's always a surprise, and that's one of the interesting things about our jobs.
And that's the process. I think that's the fun, the magic of it.
That's the magic of
That
it.
is the magic. So आज where do you stand and future में कहाँ देखते हो अपने आप को?
मुश्किल सवाल है. I don't know. I have a simple philosophy, and I keep quoting this multiple times. I said, they're kind of people who are naturally talented and have natural flair, and then there are people who work hard. So I am the latter. I try to work hard, and the idea is that I want to, at least for the next 10 years, just keep my head down and keep working hard, and see how opportunities are shaping up. And the idea is very simple, that you know, you can't be complacent or lazy enough to miss out on any opportunities. So you have to. There's a very interesting story that my father used to narrate to me. It's about it's about a plane wreck on an island, and there are 2 survivors. And so this is a remote island somewhere. There are no chances of survival. No chance of people finding them. And one of the guys is lazy the whole day and sleeps around and just doesn't do anything and is just waiting to die. And the other guy wakes up every morning and runs 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, does push-ups and pull-ups and on this godforsaken island. And so one day the lazy guy's had enough of it, and he says, listen to me, sit down. He says, what? He says, what are you doing? So it's like, we're lost on this island, we're probably never going to be found. Why do you wake up in the morning and work so hard? What for? What is going to happen? He's like, what if a lion shows up one day? He's like, you'll never outrun a lion. Even if you can run a marathon, you'll never outrun a lion. He says, I don't have to outrun a lion. I just have to outrun you. So, so that's the idea with life, right? The idea with life is that you always need to be on your toes. So that's where I see myself. I just want to, I every time that I pray for the fact that I don't lose interest, because in the kind of people we are, for us, interest is the most important thing. So if you're interested in something, you're passionate about something, you will give your life for it.
I see a director in the future.
Really?
I see you making films. I think you're getting ready to produce, because a good producer is a good director, I feel, because he should be, master of the game. So I think you're getting ready.
Well, hopefully. There's a little red book that I have, in which I've been writing a story for about a year now. But वो वही होता है कि आपको ये एक बहुत बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है एक डायरेक्टर बनना. एक तो फाइनेंशियल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी, क्योंकि आजकल नंबर्स कुछ ऐसे हो गए हैं कि इसके फाइनेंशियल्स जो हैं आर वेरी सीरियस नाउ मनी वाइज. तो आप किसी के पैसे के साथ खेल रहे होते हो, पैसे से ज़्यादा आप 1-1.5 साल लगाते हो, अपना भी नहीं, कोई 50-100 बंदों का
प्रोडक्शन करके तुम्हें ट्रिक्स आ जाएंगे साथ.
सारी ट्रिक्स आ जाएगी. So I think.
Are you in love?
Am I in love?
Yeah.
I'm in love with the idea of love, I would say. I'm a true
शहरयार को
romantic.
कोई नहीं मिला? No thunderbolt, nobody has come
Oh,
and looked at you and you said,
Things-
oh my God.
things happen all the time, like feelings and stuff, and that's
So बहुत दफ़ा हुआ या अभी एक ही दफ़ा हुआ?
काफ़ी दफ़ा नहीं हुआ था, पर अब ये है कि एक सर्टन पॉइंट के बाद आप तो बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात है, बीइंग रोमांटिक इज पार्ट ऑफ आवर जॉब,
ठीक है।
और दैट्स द फ्यूल दैट फीड्स अस, वो हमारा पेट्रोल है, तो उसको हम ज़ाया नहीं कर सकते, तो उसको इस्तेमाल करना है, काम पे जाना है, तो वो रोमांटिसिज्म को रखना है अपने अंदर। तो अब अगर मैं उसको ज़ाया कर दूंगा हर चीज़ पे, तो काम पे क्या लेके जाऊंगा? तो मैं उसको बचा के रखता हूँ। ऑनेस्टली व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज के
वो हर चीज़ तो नहीं होती,
हाँ, बट
वही चीज़ होती है।
वही चीज़
हाँ,
but there's
वही चीज़ होती है जब आपका दिमाग और आपका दिल और आपकी रूह और आपका जिस्म एक होते हैं।
आई थिंक अनफॉर्चुनेटली थोड़ा प्रैक्टिकल हो जाते हो आप थोड़े टाइम के बाद। आई थिंक दैट्स द थिंग राइट नाउ, द आइडिया इज इनिशियली व्हेन यू आर अ किड यू, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स ऑल्सो द बेस्ट पार्ट अबाउट बीइंग अ किड इज दैट यू नेवर थिंक अबाउट इससे आगे क्या, you always think abhi, and you always think you're not afraid of asking questions because you don't have answers. The problem is when you get older you already know the answers, so what questions will you ask? So what happens is that even in love, that's what happens. When you're young, you're not afraid of asking questions, you're not, because you don't know the answers as yet. But when you get older you already know certain answers, so what you want to do then is that you start looking for what those answers are telling you. नहीं मुझे ये भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए, आपकी डिमांड्स चेंज जाती हैं, आप थोड़े से प्रैक्टिकल हो जाते हो।
Don't you want to make a home of your own?
I do. I think like it's
क्योंकि सब कुछ साथ साथ चलना चाहिए ना शहरयार।
बिल्कुल सब कुछ साथ साथ चलना, आप एक चीज़ एक टाइम पे नहीं कर सकते, आपको सब कुछ करना पड़ता है। You have to be in order.
You're producing, you're directing and acting and falling in love is part of all that. No?
But I fall in love every day. I fall in love with the people I work with. I fall in love with the things I do.
मुझे सुल्ताना का जब मैंने इंटरव्यू किया था हार्ट टू हार्ट के लिए, तो आई आस्क्ड हर द सेम क्वेश्चन एंड शी सेड के तुम्हें है जिस तरह वो बात करती है ना। मैंने कहा मेरी क्या बात करती है, मैं तो हालत इश्क में हर वक्त होती हूँ।
बिल्कुल ऐसा ही है। तो बस फिर आप समझ सकती हैं कैफियत ये जो है, ये फिर हर वक्त ही आपको होता है। I have a cat. I get along with dogs, but my parents don't like the idea of having a dog around. लेकिन
So do you like doing interiors and colors and playing
Yeah.
with colors? Do you paint?
I don't paint, but I do collect.
अच्छा।
I just started. I recently did up. So we had an interesting conversation between myself and my parents. And after my elder brother passed away, my sister's married, so she doesn't live with us, and the younger one was in college. So it's just me and my parents in a bigger house. And at some point, so I'm 29 now, and I went to my father and I said. So I made a few investments here and there. So I said, I'm thinking I'm going to move into an apartment of my own. I've been investing in it. So, and he just found the idea very horrendous. You can't move out. And I said, then I thought about it and I said, yeah, actually I can't because my parents, I need to be around them. I'm the only sibling around right now, so I have to take care of them. So then we came to the conclusion कि उन्होंने कहा ऊपर वाला area जो है, you start making it for yourself. And so I always liked, generally aesthetics का मुझे बहुत, stuff. So I got to do up that place myself, all by myself. It was so much fun in the sense that I, from bookshelves to everything, I would design myself. Then I would go get a carpenter. I
Oh,
would
what
say,
fun!
And I did
I love doing interiors. So
It's
I
so much
understand
fun.
कितना मजा आता है
It's
चीजें
so
जमा
much fun.
करना। तो क्या किया, किस तरह का है?
I've done
Is
it,
it modern or?
It's eclectic, but it's got a it's contemporary eclectic, but it's got a more industrial feel to it.
अच्छा।
So, for example, like I've got this huge bookshelf that I've done with those metal pipes.
अच्छा।
So I got these metal pipes bolted into the wall, going into the floor, and then slabs of raw wood, जिसके अंदर वो texture भी आया होता है कटे हुए, those kind of slabs, and so did that, and then I really like mid-century जो mid-century जो design aesthetic है. So couple of stuff that I got was very mid-century in terms of that, and rugs I like, so picked up some rugs and started collecting art to put up on the walls. And stuff.
Wow, and colors?
So
Walls किस रंग की? What?
Walls are very clean, crisp white.
अच्छा.
Because I think that white walls work better because then you can accentuate, sort of you can have something popping out with your art through that. And then, but I like nice, cozy places with a lot of warmth around.
Okay.
So I like warmer colors. But I like wearing blue, which is not really a warm color.
Yeah.
But blue is something, navy blue is something that I really like. I like white generally. So those are the kind of colors that I like. Red is something that I've endorsed a lot. So that's something that sort of moved.
Red is the color of passion,
Of course
and
it
love,
is.
and madness.
And madness and aggression. And red is basically a color that has a lot to say.
Yeah.
So that way. And so I enjoy all of that. So I enjoyed. Then I've got a little bit of a put up a nice terrace outside, right outside my study area, and so I've got like a small garden up there. So I've started gardening. I've got my plants and stuff that I'll water in the morning. It's therapeutic in the morning.
Orchids?
Not as yet.
Not yet?
Orchids will be very difficult to manage in Karachi.
Yeah, when you're traveling a lot,
Yeah.
and busy, they need a lot of attention.
They need a lot of attention. But I have a nice bonsai, like a big one.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. You read my mind.
Did I?
Yeah, because your mother, because उनको है
Yeah,
शौक
उनको बहुत
horticulture
शौक
का,
है.
तो bonsai तो आना ही आना था.
Yeah, so I've got a nice big bonsai that I take care of as well. So it's nice, got a nice space, and then in the mornings before work, before I'll wake up in the
Do you
morning.
like animals?
I have a cat. I get along with dogs, but my parents don't like the idea of having a dog around.
Okay.
I don't know why, but so I'm generally very good with animals. I get along with animals a lot.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that and then I'm a very outdoorsy person. So I go cycling in the morning. I'll go cycle for good sometimes 20, 30, 40, 50 kilometers in the morning, and I've got a motorbike as well that I'll go riding on Sundays, and I play a lot of sports. But now as work is picked up, time is very बहुत कम मिलता है. तो सोच के जो आपको फ्री टाइम मिलने वाला होता है, आप पहले से सोचते हो यार इसमें मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ, ये भी कर सकता हूँ, ये भी कर सकता हूँ, पर क्या करूँ that will best fulfill. So
जिंदगी क्या है?
जिंदगी क्या है?
हाँ.
अभी तक फिगर आउट करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. सच बताऊँ तो आपको समझ में नहीं आती. काफ़ी चीज़ें समझ में आती हैं, बट होलिस्टिकली अभी तक ज़िंदगी समझ में नहीं आती, क्योंकि हर रोज़ ज़िंदगी कुछ नई लगती है, नई सी लगती है. ऐसा नहीं लगता आपको? आप कभी उठती हैं तो कभी ज़िंदगी कुछ और होती है, कुछ दिन बाद.
हाँ नहीं, unpredictable. You just don't know पूरा दिन कैसे गुजरेगा.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes the air is different. Generally, you wake up in the morning and the wind is blowing a different direction.
Yeah.
There's a different smell in the air, or maybe you just start noticing it now. So
Yeah, it's so magical, actually.
Yeah. So every day is different.
And then people with you, and the family that you create, and the love that is given to you, the warmth.
Yeah.
You know?
You learn new feelings and new emotions every day.
Amazing amount of warmth, the smile. My God, life is actually a beautiful smile.
It's a beautiful smile. It is.
Have you understood death after your brother?
Yeah, the concept of death is very difficult to understand, honestly.
क्योंकि वो तो I think it shook everybody up.
Gee, he's young. This is about 4 years ago. He was 28 years old, and it was very sudden, and car crash, and I had to go pick up his body from the crash site. So that was a little traumatic, but that wasn't traumatic. The idea of death, when you understand, I was only about 24 when he died. And is very different. Obviously, a lot of other things change because you're expected to be the eldest of the family then, and different things happen. But it was more to do with understanding the concept of death, because we always read about it. We know what it is. Growing up, you understand the biological part of it, that here is a being, and everything inside him is working. But a second later, everything inside him is not working. So the machinery is off. So it's not working. It's kaput, like a piece of machine, right? But it's much more than that, because then you start thinking that here was a person that had memories, feelings, emotions, ambitions, goals, and other things attached to him. But when the biological part is gone, so are all these things, you know, the peripheral stuff around it is also gone. These emotions and stuff that you attach with them is gone. So now this individual does not exist anymore. He ceased to exist, and he is but only in my memories. And what are memories? If a crazy man has memories, those memories are not even true the way that we see them being true. So you really can't go by memories, can you? Because, you know, sometimes we sort of change memories to the way that we like them, or we perceive situations that we like them. So I really don't even know that does this person even exist, or did he even exist? Because he's just in my memory now.
Yeah.
You know? So you start questioning, you become very philosophical, like I'm sounding right now. I don't know if I'm sounding
No,
pseudo-philosophical.
you're right. No, you're right. Because that man was also dreams and aspirations and plans and
Yeah.
future.
And future and all of
Yeah.
that, and there, it's gone. And he probably never knew he was going to die. Nobody even thinks about it. So, you know, sometimes when you have plans and your ambitions and stuff, so you really kill yourself that day to get rewarded probably 5 years later, or like, you know, the next day or something. And maybe he was doing that. Maybe he was saving up for something and compromising today. And did he know that all of that will not be there? You know, so the concept is it's very bothersome. You know, it just really shakes you up, because it just tells you that, you know, it's just like holding like a little twig. You know, that's what life is. Like, if you ask me now, maybe I have an answer, because in a second you could snap and it's gone. There's no connection between the two anymore.
So don't you think that you should not deny yourself, because life is so so unpredictable, that you should not deny yourself love and home and all that brings, you know, to you as a human being.
Yeah.
बजाय सेव करे, अच्छा ये काम कर लूँ मैं अभी,
Yeah.
वो बन जाऊँ मैं अभी.
Yeah.
Don't you think you should just let life come to you, whatever it brings to you? क्योंकि हम बहुत कुछ करते हैं ना plans के.
हाँ.
प्रोड्यूसर भी है और डायरेक्टर भी है और एक्टर भी है, और you know what I'm saying.
स्टॉक पोर्टफोलियो भी होना चाहिए.
हाँ, है ना?
So you know.
तो ये इससे पहले कि
चार चीजें होनी चाहिए.
आने देना चाहिए. इसीलिए मैं पूछ रही थी कि अगर मोहब्बत आ रही है तो डिनाई मत करो उसे. आई थिंक जस्ट लेट इट कम टू यू.
नहीं, बिल्कुल आप सही कहते हैं. जनरली people should have दरवाजे बंद करके नहीं बैठना चाहिए किसी भी आइडिया को, like I said before. But ये है कि आप बहुत एक certain point के बाद, I would say I've become very selective generally with everything that I do. So I wouldn't call myself very choosy about stuff. I am a little. So it's also fair because I see my parents, mashallah, and they've had such a lovely marriage. You know, they've had so many years, and mashallah, I've seen them go through such tough times as well, testing times as well, in terms of things not between them but things around them, and I've seen them be each other's support system, and it's very endearing to see now that, you know, when my mother travels, because she loves traveling as well, and then she keeps traveling, and so when my mother travels, my father can't you know, go by his day. He's just so upset, and that's so endearing to see that the kind of love that they have.
And even when, you know, when you went through this trauma, this tragedy, they were there together to support each other.
They were there to support each other. But that's what scares me. What scares me is the fact that if that is how it has to be, then if I get something even slightly less than that, will I be able to live with it? So, I mean, I don't know, it's a weird fear, isn't it? It's the idea of, I guess, getting into something and then not really quite getting there, and then probably feeling burnt after. That's the fear. But I guess like you said, I should learn from what's happened to people around me.
Yeah, because you just said that ना कि उसने शायद इतना कुछ छोड़ा होगा, कुछ बचाया होगा, कुछ प्लान किया होगा, and suddenly. But yes, I think we should allow life to come and embrace us.
And embrace us.
Yes,
Yeah.
है ना? And life के अंदर ये सब कुछ है. इसमें गम भी है और खुशियाँ भी हैं और प्यार भी है.
और प्यार भी है.
Yes.
बिल्कुल.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you so
much. Thank you.